Following show are those of the host and the host only, and not those of Heidelberg Broadcasting, its ownership, or management.
Good evening, beautiful people. Welcome to RFD Talk live here at 147 WVOL, the mighty Nashville Heritage Radio Station. We are excited to be here live in Nashville tonight. It's 6 o'clock. Excuse me. Let me slow down. I'm super excited. Sometimes I talk fast, so let me take it back down just a little bit here, just to welcome you all, our Facebook listeners, our YouTube followers, and especially our WVOL listeners here on the radio station. We are so excited to be here this Monday evening again. So if you're in your car, tune in, listen in. If you're at home, let's call in, take some notes. We want you to be a part of this conversation. Welcome to RFD Talk. I am Robin F. David, aka as RFD. I am your host and I am your executive producer of the RFD Talk Show. I am the founder of the Golden Foundation. I'm an advocate for families with gun violence. I am the president of the Golden Foundation. I am an author, a speaker, and I am a certified life coach. Today, I am super excited that we're going to be having a topic that has been burning inside of us, and I'm going to say happy Juneteenth to all of us who are celebrating Juneteenth. We have felt some new things happening here in Nashville. We really want to talk about these subjects among some of the leaders and some of the people here in Nashville and seeing how we are being affected. And one of the things, since we're celebrating Juneteenth and we are now free at last, we are free. And I want to thank God. First of all, I'm inviting him into this conversation because there's going to be some amazing information shared. But we want to honor God for this hour here on A Black Media, where we'll have the voice to talk about the concerns here in the greater Nashville area. So every comment will mean a lot to us. So your feedback is important. And if you have a question, no question is not important. So please let us know. You can leave it at a later time. We'll get back with you. If you need any resources that we can help you with here, we'll be glad to help you. So before I go into all that, I always like to ask you guys, how you feeling? We know Wendy, that's my other mentor in the world and radio world, Wendy Williams. She's my trailblazing mentor. She don't even know that, but of course, Wendy, Oprah, all those great people who have trailblazed before us as Black amazing women. I just want to say, how you feeling tonight? So how you feeling tonight is very important because we want to work on how to master feeling well everywhere in every place and feeling belonged. And our topic tonight is the strongholds and setbacks that Black women have dealt with. Black women, with how many things that we have overcome, where we are today in society, and where we see ourselves being in the future. So that's going to be our topic tonight. So hold tight. I got some great guests in the green room. So please hold those questions. I'm going to get really quick into thanking my sponsors, which is Shave Me Down Handmade Body Butter. And definitely check out Shave Me Down on Facebook at Shave Me Down. And then we also have another sponsor, which is Majestic Elegant Candles and Company. And then definitely want to check out those candles. They are soy-based candles, and you can check it out on the website, livemajestic.com. So those are our sponsors for now. I want to thank them all. But first, before we go into comments and questions and all those great things, thank you, listeners, viewers, and Facebook followers for leaving your comments and coming on. Those are very important. We appreciate you for being here tonight. One of the things we also, if you want to call in, you can call in tonight at 615-227-1470. Please call in if you have want to dialogue with us on the phone. We invite you to come into the conversation. Also, one of the things I was praying about today, I said, Lord, what would you have me say to our amazing listeners and viewers here at the RFD Talk? And so it's such a real topic. It's such a real topic that I was like, Lord, and I keep hearing unity and community and power in people, and the power in people, us, unity. So the Lord said to RFD, He gave me the scripture for tonight's show is, behold how good and how pleasant it is for us, brethren, sisters, women, mothers, daughters, and friends to unite. So I think that's how I looked at that scripture tonight. But we really want to meditate on what unity and community means and what people in power together, what that means. So with no further ado, I think I went over all the things that you need to know about RFD and our show here. And now let's welcome from the green room, we have an amazing guest. And here we are with Kanithia, which is our host. We did this morning, we collaborated. Kanithia and Mrs. Hall, Charlesetta Hall is here. And we have also in the green room, we have Rachel John. Did I say that right? It's Rachel Johnson. Okay, we have Rachel and we're going to talk to these ladies about some of the strongholds and setbacks as Black women and looking at the problems, the major problems in Nashville. So, ladies, which one of you would like to start first and introducing yourself to our audience and telling them a little bit about what it means to be a Black woman, where we came from and where we are, how far we have moved ahead to who we are now. So let's talk about that, ladies. And happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth, Robin. We're so excited to be here with you. I think the order should go with Miss Charlesetta being the eldest for wisdom.
Well, so, my name is Charlesetta Hall. I am the host. I have a testimony. I'm the executive producer of the show. One of the setbacks can go back a longer before I even started in the radio, when it was really hard for women, Black women in particular, to even get a job in the corporate. I remember as a student at TSU University back in the 70s, it was called A&I, and before it even became Tennessee State University. And I remember going out there, meeting up with all the young Black women at the time. And then I became a part of Fisk University too, being a part of the knowing the Fisk Jubilee singers at the time. So I saw the struggles that we had. Growing up, I was involved in the NAACP. I've been in several marches, as student marches at TSU University. I think that's when I started marching for Black women, that our voices can be heard, not knowing that 30-something years or 40-something years, Black women are moving in professional in their field more every day. They're not just teachers. They're becoming lawyers and doctors. We even have the vice president, who is a woman, and she's Black. I mean, we have come a long, long way, but it's with support and unity together, supporting one another. So that's what I'm all about. I have an acting career. I've been in some independent films, and I do extras for movies and commercials. So that's something that was unheard of back in the 70s. You didn't have that many. But when I look at television today or the movie theaters, I see all the Blacks that are beginning to come out, have their own shows, starting their own movies. And that was something that you didn't hardly see because most of the time you was a maid or a cook. You see, so we have come a long way, and we just have to continue to keep coming a long way.
That's. I don't know if I gotta get the get this camera. Okay, I'm gonna go. So I'm Kenita. I'm the homeless CEO Patterson, and the reason I'm called the homeless CEO is because my family faced being homeless 4 separate times, and that caused me to start our nonprofit Visionaries Incorporated. We're partnered with Ms. Johnson above, and that's how we're connected. But the setbacks that I have seen have felt like how you said earlier, Miss Robin, like a trailblazer, like you a Harriet Tubman in the game in a modern day setting. And not too much has changed from back when, Juneteenth began. So I'm just amazed to see some of the things that are happening in the US. Just like if you take the insurrection, for example, there's no way those people should have got off those steps, considering, the protests and the marches that we have had. And, you could get blown down by a fire hydrant, a dog, something thrown at you, mustard, ketchup, anything. So it's just looking at things from those lenses of the things we have gone through and seeing it be an unequal balance with the justice system.
Right.
And also the housing situation. I'm going to speak on housing because like the number one thing, because you could think back to Redline and you could think back to them building interstates through the cities and just, anything to put barriers in place. However, I feel like God is turning that around right now. And we know in the scripture it has said the first shall be last. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So that system is toppling, it's crumbling, it can no longer stand because it was not built on a solid foundation. So I just feel like that's the season we're in right now, crushing those old systems that never were beneficial for us. They were never intended for us. So now we're creating eco communities and things that are beneficial for us as a people. So that's my take on, overcoming and where we have come from to now. Even though it's oppressive, it doesn't matter because God said a different thing and he is doing a new thing in us. So it's the best is yet to come.
I agree. Would you like to introduce yourself to us, Mrs. Johnson, Rachel Johnson?
You muted, Rachel.
Oh, yeah, she's muted. Okay, hold on. Let me see on this side. Okay, start now.
So I'm Rachel Johnson. I'm a housing advocate, founder of Faces of HUD Housing. We also have a nonprofit called Helping Others Make Everything Right, which is Homer for short, and it's my mother's last name. So I wanted to go into, I guess, what from before to now. Women have always been, Black women have always been educators. And so we've always taught and we've always been nurturers in our families. And so I feel like, that component is like fading away, I would say, in today's younger society. It's fading away from what I can tell. And I think that the education is still there. We're still teachers, and we stand on our own. We are where we were limited to how we could speak back in the day. We don't allow people to hold us to not speaking up, especially when we're so passionate about certain things. And so I kind of like relate. I was looking at some of the activists, the organizers from before, how they ended up destitute, when they passing away. And nowadays women have taken that and have created opportunities for them to make money, you know, in that teaching and that education that they do in the activism. So, and I think that really across the board, not just My area is more so housing and self-sufficiency. And so I just feel like, we have been queens of this industry for a lifetime. And so, we display that often. But I just think that what needs to be improved more now is just that our young ladies have to get back to um, coming full circle in the families and being more into the family setting.
That's wow. That's interesting. I love what everyone just mentioned and touch bases. Mrs. Hall, with you saying you've seen us in places now that we never have been, right? Which that is true, right? We have been given more opportunities to be in movies as you were trailblazing and seeing that open up, and those areas have opened up. Uh, Kanita, you're right. Like you were saying that you see the things that our community have went through and housing and the importance for us having housing in the community that we desire to live in and work in. You've seen that go through like the changes of we used to be more wholesome like that. And I agree with Mrs. Johnson as well when I think of me being a homemaker because I'm like a little bit of all of you, right? I'm in the center of everybody's age because like 54 to me, I feel like um, I understand my grandmother before me now a little bit more, and then I understand. I see my youngest daughter like you need to be more of a homemaker because we haven't taught our younger women because now they're going for the bag, right? So they're going for the bag, and then our children are suffering because our children are a reflection of us not teaching the things that we need to teach them again, and they're going without that because now we're like, well, I gotta go for the bag, and mommy got to get the 6 figures, and I got the opportunity. And I was thinking about that when I looked at that one lady, the black actress, and she has that son that killed himself.
Yeah.
I'm just using her for example because she's an amazing role model for me. But and it saddened me so because I thought, wow, I know she felt like I'm giving my son everything, and that's what we normally decided we wanted to do. When you say we got away from just teaching our children at home, and that's to me, we need to get back to that, right? We need to get back to
We
that.
really do.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Yes.
Lots of these kids, I understand running after the bag, but we have to be versatile and then we have to, multitask like we did, we got the bag, but at the same time, we, continue to educate and be there for our kids. I think sometimes the younger people are just putting some things more priority when it comes to the kids and hoping that they get it, and they're not getting the basics.
I agree. I agree with you. I had seen that happening. Uh, had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom at one time when I was married, and I remember my ex was like, "Just go and enjoy them while they're little," and I was like, "No, I want to go to work because my girlfriends are working." But I did see that. I was like, "Well, my friends are working, but then the children are a little bit more behave better when there's a parent that's steady,
able to be at home. Yep.
Home, and that children need that at a certain age. So I'm really grateful that I did have the opportunity to teach with my children. One of my older sons, he said, "Mom, you could have kept me taught more longer because he like wanted really long." I said, "Boy, you didn't even listen in the classes I had with you." But I do agree with you on that. So
that's important. That's very important. When you was talking about you was home with your children. First of all, let me say I'm 67. So I know what it is for a parent to be at home. Some kids come from broken homes, some of them don't. Some kids do well that's even from broken home. It just depends on that child. And then you don't know what that child is going through that may have caused them to kill themselves or do what they do or get involved what they do, because as parents, we have to teach them. We have to be examples because they're looking at us. And I was at home with my kids for a while, but like I said, I did work, but I still was that parent, and they did have their father in their life that we made sure both my kids went on to college and both of them graduated, and they was able to do well in their lives today. But that comes from nurturing. That comes from caring. That comes from listening to your children.
Yeah.
But at the same time, letting them know what's going on in the community.
Yeah.
Let them know about peer pressure, all those things,
Yeah.
come in contest as a mother. But as mothers and fathers, we can only do the best we can.
I know, and I think Rachel can attest to this too.
Mhm.
We've been out. I'm sorry, Miss Charza.
Oh, yeah.
But we've been out in rallies, and my kids have been drummers at the social justice rallies and such like that. So I believe in children learning on the job,
That's right.
basically, like learning in the community, hands on. And that's actually a part of our program, like our transitional housing that I'm building. It's meant for families with children, and but the goal is to create those holistic families, and it's the opposite of what social services is.
Okay.
So, really, if you think about it, back in the day, you had to hide the iron from social services or you was gonna lose your benefits. So, like, they didn't want you to have anything. They didn't want the fathers in the home. You had to hide your husband too. Like, so that's just crazy that was the fact. But it's just back to that thing of, trying to throw barriers in the way and setbacks. And me personally, at 17 years old, when I went to get benefits, I didn't know any better. I'm just following the same course. I saw my mama get the books of food stamps. Not saying that's nothing towards mama. But you see the book of food stamps or whatever, so you think you got to go get a food stamp case or whatever. And so I gave them my husband's name at the time, and I didn't know that later on down the line that would prevent us from buying a house because they put child support on him, and he was always there with the kids. So how does that work out? To a parent that's there, and they still charging him like he's been absent. It's just a system that's such a beast, and they won't listen to you.
Yeah, so it's so many different processes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, because that one right there, breaking our families up and separating Black women from our Black men, just because of those barriers right there. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, some of these systematic processes and procedures are put in place to hold us down.
Yeah.
And so we don't realize that, like, me living in housing, I ended up in housing because I had an ill child. My mother was on welfare. She went to training and went to the police department, started working there. And so I had a really good role model in that essence, but at the same time, there was domestic violence at home. And then at the same time, she would always tell me, like, if I lost a job or something like that, go and apply for this AFDC or things like that. But I myself, it was like I kept saying, no, I'm going to find me a job. So I would never go apply for it. I would just struggle through it and just work, and whether it was temporary or not. And I think that these systems, what I've found, especially in housing, I can speak really good about housing. It was one of the reasons why I stopped. I just, after fighting for my Section 8 year after year and having it taken away, and them creating opportunity to evict me and things of that sort, I didn't really understand it. So people being evicted and with people being losing their Section 8, there's monies available to the people that administer these programs. So they have opportunity to make money off the people that are poor, that are going through all these situations. And so it took me going through those situations and just not understanding why they weren't helping me. I had a sick child, but yet and still you want to take my voucher, something that's going to help keep me and my family housed. And so, and just recently some people got evicted, or, you just find all these different situations. And then so it helped me to navigate. I had this guy once ask me, and I'm going to stop. He said, well, what module are you using? And I'm like, what do you mean, what module? He says, there's module for each one of these types of processes. I said, I'm not using a module. I'm using common sense. I see the fact that this program was created to help the people, but there's also different processes that keep the programs and the access to the people. Now, if you keep dumbing yourself down in a sense, or you are not educated about your rights.
That's right.
It's just like, okay, I'm going to keep you. But the ones who are standing up for their rights, those are the ones that they put those obstacles and blackball
They
you. And
sure do. They
Yeah,
sure do.
I can attest to that.
I agree with Rachel 100% on that. They will try to blackball you. That is so true.
Because it's like trying to steal their voice, because they know, I've seen it where, Miss Rachel, in public housing, those people cannot like apply to be in the office or take positions that are available where they could get paid as the president of the association. But they want the people that are not going to encourage the people to know their rights. That's or that are going to educate the people. They want people that are going to take you out to dinner or some type of distraction other than education.
Right.
So I have literally witnessed that.
I mean, I look at the fact that the housing directors, they pay like $25,000 to $35,000 to be a member of an association of all the directors around the country. But yet and still, there's $200 a month that the resident board members are supposed to get, and they keep you away from that $200 that they get as a stipend if they organize a resident council and they are representative of their peers that live in public housing. So why are they trying to keep them away from that $200? I mean, I don't understand. Or why won't they pay the membership for those tenant groups, that's going to come back and help their peers, become self-sufficient? They have all these different programs, but the money is not trickling down to the people that it needs to trickle down.
Yep. And they recently asked for that lived experience, and it's still not coming to us. They found a way to reroute it. We have literally been living this like you wouldn't even know the setbacks and obstacles we've really faced in the background. People wouldn't even believe it if we told it.
They won't believe it.
Yeah.
So when I think about listening to what you all saying, it's going to be part of our solution is, are we educating our youth right away?
Yeah.
To derail them from this system that has been passed down.
Exactly.
Or unawarely of, what success looked like for some of us Black women who mothers or families did not know any better, but we were in the housing systems. We were on food stamps and did not know the importance. You had said earlier, Mrs. Hall, that you own your own house. Can you tell us who taught you to purchase your own house so early? Because I really am not that one who had
that knew.
That was so important.
Okay, it has a lot to do with my family. That was a support system in my family. My mother was an educated woman, but she lived in the projects. And I grew up in the projects as a child. So my mother instilled with us that if you want to do better, go out and do better. So my thing was to go to college. And so that's what I did. And I made sure that I got my credit score up, because I realized if you wanted to go get something, the first thing they want to do is see what your credit is. So I worked towards getting the credit. I had said that I wanted a home to raise my 2 children in. I had been living in the apartment life. So what I did was I stepped out on faith and I went and tried to get a house. But my score was so big that they gave me a conventional loan instead of the FPH?
I think it's FHA.
They gave me the highest loan that I could get. So I was able to get my house. But I constantly work on my credit. I constantly do that. That's not the most important thing in the world, but it's important if you're trying to get something.
Yeah.
But coming out of the housing projects was a very learning experience. I can truly say there's some wonderful people that live in the project. I mean, some good people, down to earth, caring, loving, kind people that come out of the projects. As you have known, Reverend Jesse Jackson, he came out of the projects. So it really doesn't matter where you live, but it matters with how you are as an individual on the inside. So my success story was, I believe it could be done. I just believe it. And that's what I went off of.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that success story, that you believe love that part that you
That's
believe
right.
it can be done. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Go right
Yeah.
ahead. Go right
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, and did you have a question? You said.
No, I was just gonna say go right ahead if you wanted to say something in regards to that.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking about like the tour that we have. I was talking about it earlier, and Miss Rachel can really elaborate on this. I know we're looking to try to get an RV to tour around to teach people, to publicly educate people, excuse me. But like I said, what we were saying, funding is a huge
It's a
barrier
huge
that we meet, and so we're doing the work, but it runs into barriers for us to not be able to be focused solely on the work and make it a full priority, because we end up going to work and doing the work in the community too. So it just kind of gets in the way. Not saying going to work is a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it gets in the way of the process of getting to the people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I
yeah,
like I'd like to add to that is just that
Um,
like we have.
John, could we just hold right
Oh,
there?
okay.
That part right there. Add to that. We're gonna come back. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. I do apologize, Mrs.
no,
Johnson. We're
it's
gonna come
okay.
right
Oh, no, you're
back.
good. You're good. Thanks.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money? Fix flights? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they hit unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price
So
on your
we're
next
taking
flight.
a
Let
quick
one of our
break, Facebook and YouTube. So I just want you to know that
call SmartFares today.
this is a commercial
Best
radio
price on your
break.
next flight. Guaranteed.
So that's why
Also,
we're not
save up to
talking much
50%
again.
off
So we'll be right
business and
back
first class
right after
tickets.
this commercial.
901-424-5274. That's 901-424-5274.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. That's 800-584-2519.
Welcome back to RFD Talk. We are super excited this evening. I just want to share with you our topic again. Black women on how we have moved today versus years ago. So our topic is Black women on how we have moved today versus years ago, the strongholds and setbacks that Black women have overcome. So join us, and we're back with Mrs. Johnson. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for being here with us. And what was you sharing with us again?
Yeah, so I want to piggyback on what Kanitha was talking about, the funding that we need. And so I wanted to give like an example sometimes of the work that we do. And so we educate tenants about their rights and responsibilities, but we also help them navigate through these processes. Let's say if they want to get an extension on their Section 8 voucher, if they can't locate housing, which is really happening a lot these days, they can't find affordable housing. And so lots of people are being terminated from the program, but because they are not educated about the process and the rules and regulations that the HUD representatives, the Housing Authority representatives must follow. And so if you don't understand that information, then that's how you end up losing something so important after you waited all these years in line for to use to help you, give you a hand up in this system of things. But and so what I look at is that we have a lot of black women. The majority of people that live in public housing are black women. But these black women are so like tied into these materialistic, things, to they don't even understand that how important it will be if they contributed to this this education portion of so that we can help have the funding to pay a few people that can help mobilize and keep them in a position to have housing until they could get their own homes, or
Mhm.
just move out and pay for market if they wanted to rent. And so I think that sometimes they don't understand how much we go through as housing advocates and organizers and activists, where some of them seem to think that we shouldn't be paid for the time that we spend with them. And so they don't think that they should pay. I mean, we don't charge much, a membership $25, between 25 and 125 a month, depending on how much we touch you. And so sometimes these people who are being evicted or about to lose their voucher and need to talk to HUD, sometimes these representatives aren't calling them back, but we're able to get them to call back and then start having that conversation. Sometimes that's like up to a year. And so when you look at the amount of money that we're charging, it's really, really low. And so those are some of the things that they don't see as important. And then you see those same women that you help, and I'm saying black women, the same women that you're helping are the ones who attack you, when you're helping them. And so we
Yeah.
have got to somehow get to them to understand that this is like a conversion, okay? Back in the day, we know that transformation has to happen from slavery, from when they have, put us in this box and wanted us to stay in this box, right? And so whenever you see white, you think that's right, and you're going to go ahead and go along with that. And just because that person has a PhD or a nice car, and then those are the people that you listen to. But we got to get black women in housing to begin to see that they have to convert their mind, transform here in order for them to have something.
Yeah.
And the message is that they are here systematically abusive to us as black people in general. But when you look at black women, when it comes to men, black men, we're in a position to be at a level to go back and pull our black men up, but yet
Yes.
still we're not doing that. And
Ooh,
we gotta get to the point of this right here. We gotta start right here to convert our thinking, because I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, I look at a lot of young black men. They've taken that mother role. I'm not saying taking it, but they are the majority of black young men that I see are looking for young black women,
To be
and
him.
they're coming to the older women like us to try
mhm,
to date us.
mhm,
Young black women got to start getting back to being, going back to the basics of where our grandmothers and our mothers
Yes.
taught us how to be, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
we do, and that's what I want to ask you, uh, um, Kanithia, since you are younger, and we all have we all have our different stages in life and experiences have brought us. But being younger, so we know our problems, right? We know that we have a problem that that's major with our housing, right? But like you said earlier, that is the nucleus. Because we gotta have the home to come home to eat, feed, get the mind well, mentally feel good. So we've got to have home. So we know that's one major problem, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what do you? And you're right, Mrs. Johnson, when you say I see us, we got finances growing and we're financially stable now, and we can get in the door where some of our black men cannot get in. So we know the problem, but we are the solution. So tell me, Kanithia, what do you think as we as the youth? as we unite as people power? What is the first solution to this many problems?
Yeah.
Start
Oh,
with first.
that's a great question because it's multifaceted in the answer, and we seem to think we can only do one thing one way, one thing at a time.
That's it.
It has to be multifaceted, and it takes all of us as a puzzle piece to come together for the solution. Each person, if me, Rachel, and Charzette is doing housing, the other people are doing something else, then if to me, I think about it like in the Bible, you know, that passage where they're talking about how the body, one thing is doing one thing, the arm is doing one thing, the eyes have to do something,
Right.
the brain is connected as a central. We have to have all those components together and be that in a solid manner, just like all the other races. They do that. They're solid.
Yes.
So they take up for each other. They will take up for each other's dirty draws. We won't do that. And it has been ingrained in us in a manner. And honestly, to me, it was part of the system to break us up the way that we are. I feel like even going back to thinking about book breaking, that was meant to break the black man down. So they needed to break the black man down because what is he? The protector. And if they're taken out of the picture, who's open game? The women. The necks are the open game at that point. So it's just a powerful thing to disassemble a black family. So that's exactly what has happened and what we gotta snatch back.
All right.
I learned something some time ago. There's this lady told me, she said, you know why they call hush puppies hush puppies?
Yeah.
It's because they used it as a trail for the dogs whenever they were coming, when they were running, the slaves were running away. And they used the hush puppies, the cornbread, to hush the puppies.
Literally.
So I learned that. And so one of the things that I noticed, we got to get back to telling our stories. Like lots of things that has happened in our past, lots of these young women are so, I won't say young women, it's all women, all us as black women, we're embarrassed to tell the stories, the good and the bad. And we got to get back to telling these stories so that our kids don't have to go through those same struggles, and they could hear, okay, this is what happened, okay, and things that's the education. The grandmothers aren't telling the stories anymore. You know, they want to shake your rump. It's nothing wrong with shaking your rump. That's part of our heritage as black people, is to dance. But it's nothing wrong with it. But there's a time and place for everything. I know somebody long time ago, this is the last time I'm gonna say on this topic, but I used to play this song Trick Daddy. You don't know Nan or something like that.
You don't know Nan.
I used to play that song for my kids, but I used that song to teach my kids, these are not the type of guys you want to deal with. Okay. And this is some of the language that you're going to hear as you're growing up. And I want you to be able to be in a crowd and know what people are talking about. Yes. If it's urban or not. So some of my family members would say, why would you let them listen to that? I said, they're listening to it anyway.
We the best to teach them.
I want to be able to teach them rather than the world to teach them in a way. And I have, like, when I look at my daughters, you know, and how they are, and it's just like, I'm just amazed at how God, you know, helped me to teach my kids and gave me that wisdom, because when I was growing up, my mom didn't tell me much. She told me to keep my legs shut. Okay, the reality of it is, am I going to do that? Okay, no. So, you know, it's just like we got to be able to teach our kids a little bit more.
In a real way.
You know, just teach them. And the young, they got to tell these stories.
Yeah. And that's the key. Go on.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's the key. We have to tell it. I had to tell my kids. My mother had to tell me. My mother had to tell her. You know, we have to know exactly, like Nethi was saying, it's in the Bible, the head, the arms, the legs. We all work together. Everybody's opinion does count. And you have to look at it in the contents in which you're saying. When you present something to somebody, the first thing they want to know is, well, what am I going to get out of it?
Mm.
How do I know this is going to happen? So sometimes you have to have a success story to tell somebody that they can do it,
Yeah.
and it will be done. I remember when I first met Kenethia, I have seen this young woman grow, and the passion that she has for the homeless people and housing for people.
Mhm.
Now, that wasn't something that I taught her. That was something she taught me. But we was able to connect
Mhm.
because of it. And we've been doing this for like six, maybe 7 years now
Mhm.
that I have known her. And this has always been her conversation,
Mhm.
what she's trying to do with housing. And like I shared with her, I grew up in housing, so I know.
Yeah.
But in my situation, it was from the training that I got from my mother, my grandmother,
Some
and
good
my
training.
great grandmother,
Right.
because I come from a long line of slavery, which
Mhm.
most of us do. But I
Right.
just know the history of it.
Yeah.
And I know that what my mother had instilled in us. It hurts me when I looked at Channel 5 this evening, how they are making it a law for homeless people. If they see them, they can give them a citation,
Mm-hmm.
For fifty
for
thousand dollars,
$50,000. Who does this? Who
knowing they
does
don't
this?
have $50,000, that's just criminalizing homelessness.
Yes.
That's what that's doing, and trying to get bodies in jail for profit.
Yeah.
And to me, that's racketeering, honestly.
Ooh,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to chime in on that because I see some of the homeless a lot near where I'm presently living, and
Right.
Yeah.
I say to myself, I see a lot of our black men. That's another
Yeah.
thing, and it's so. I mean, there's all races of homeless. Because the word I learned this year by having a guest on here is displacement, right? So you can use
Mhm.
displacement, homeless, whichever word you
Yeah.
want to. But I think like displacement, I talked to God about it too, because I said to myself, because as a founder of the Golden Foundation, one of the things I found that is my mission is to help mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends learn how to have positive relationships with self and others and your children, so you can be
That's
present.
right.
A lot of mothers are not present in the home.
Yep.
Mhm.
Part of my learning to see what is the disconnect. What is
Right.
from home that needs the more positive relationships, but they start at home. Again,
Mhm.
when I think of our men that are broken from our family, they're broken from our family, they're displaced, then they mentally become not better for us black women to have a man. Some of the men out there remind me of could be my uncle, could be my dad, could be
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
and it just touches my heart a lot.
Yeah.
I see it every day, and I even also have to piggyback on us telling our story. I have to mention that because I was talking to the Lord on the way here, and I was like, Lord,
Mhm.
this is really, touching to my heart that we get the opportunity to talk about this today and have a conversation. We'll have to probably come back and do part 2. But I was thinking, wow, we again are at this place where I'm my thought. Lord, my train of thought lost it. Wait, hold on, just a second, because we're at this place where I was like, okay, we need to help each other, but we're at a place where I was like, how do we get to this place to help each other really, really be the solution in our community? But there's another thing that came to my mind, but it's just a lot. Like, it was like, God, I just don't, when I see them there, they say, oh, you all don't know your history. I hear that.
Mhm.
But we do know our history.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
In the book,
It's ingrained.
thank you, Holy Spirit. It may not be written. We know our history. I mean, when other people tell me,
That's
"Oh,
powerful.
you guys," I had a lady tell me, "Because you guys don't know your history." I said, "Excuse me,
Mhm.
who is you to tell me?"
Yeah, excuse me.
Right.
No,
Like, pardon yourself, right?
Yeah, we know our history. We know it.
it's written on our hearts and in
It's
our
right.
DNA.
We lived it. We lived
Yeah.
it.
We
We
lived
lived the
it.
history.
We lived
We
it.
might not have a book because it might have been just hidden from us, or not really
Right.
kept the record, because a lot of things weren't kept a record for us.
Yeah.
Man.
Don't tell me that, lady. I'm like, do not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they spend a lot of time trying to hide that history, but don't hit me and
Don't
hide
hit
your
me.
hand neither.
No.
Right.
So it's like you the one that hit us and you the one trying to hide the history.
They
So
trying to hide
that's
it.
what
They taking the books out of the
Yeah.
school system So they don't want Black history to be taught in the schools anymore. So
Yeah,
they're
because
taking those
then we'll
books
see
out.
you then.
But just like I worked at Department of Human Services for 36 years. I know how welfare works. I know how food stamps work. I know how medical care works. You know, I know how nursing home work because I did it. We had to work with homeless people. You hear their voices, you hear their concerns.
Real people.
And one of the things that some of them don't know is their history, and some of them do know. So you have to work with those that want to know, because you just got some people that just don't want to know, just don't care, whatever their problem may be, depression or anxiety, or they just don't care. But they're always somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody out of that crowd is listening.
Yep.
And that's why you have to keep teaching it and
Wow.
saying it and showing them that it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I created Faces of HUD Housing specifically for Black women. And it's really sad that every other race takes more advantage of Faces of HUD Housing and what it has to offer than Black women. And so one of the things that, like, we are conducting the Saving Our Homes and Taking Back Our Communities tour. We're going into the projects, low-income housing. We're even going into tax credit properties and trying to educate, trying to find those people who want to become self-sufficient, who want to be committed in some way and volunteer to provide some sort of service. 50 states represented, you know. And it's so hard to get Black women to really commit to this, because when you're in a situation, they seem to think that they can't do anything else other than that situation.
Yep.
Well, I have news to tell you guys. I was in plenty of situations. And for me, it's like God told me, go ahead and help somebody else and watch your situation disappear.
Yep.
And so I want you guys to understand that wherever your passion is, whatever your passion is, dedicate that to some organization. Volunteer. It is so important. How are we going to get this thing done when there's few of us that are volunteering? You don't have to be paid for everything. God made a way for me.
Yes,
For
He has.
almost 25 years, I've been doing this housing work and for free.
Yeah.
But guess what? Money, somehow, resources made it way to me because God made a way. He put it in the path. And that's how I know God is in this.
Yes.
And I agree, Lisa. I agree with what Rachel is saying. I volunteer every other Saturday to feed the homeless people. There's no pay involved, but God will continue to bless you, pay your bills, whatever needs to be done. We just have to take that time to help and support the people that are in need.
Exactly.
Wow. This has just been just such a right on time, right at the time of Juneteenth, as we know that happened, but we still have a lot of work to really embrace that, to really to see that, because I had stopped the store on the way here, and I was like, we need our stores back in our community. It's and you know, it's sad to say we don't have any good food in our community. It's just, we really, as Black women, we really got to pour ourselves. And you ladies are already working on that. I'm working on doing some more things with the Zelle Foundation, because I realize there's so many women who need to work on their transformation, going through the trauma that may have happened in their experience, having that safe place to get their emotions and manage their emotions.
Can I say something to what you just said?
Yes.
We have to stop thinking that we got to ask somebody to put activities back into our neighborhoods, like growing food and things like that, creating activities for our kids.
That's what
we
we
shouldn't
doing.
have to ask for that. If you want to do it, do it. Just do it.
We're gonna do it.
Because we are the largest amount of consuming in the whole world.
We got it.
We're everywhere all the time, but we are not being consciously aware that we're not putting it, like you said, just taking the action.
Community,
for our community. Because why not? Why not create it for our
That's right.
And you know what, Ms. Robin, we are the tools that we need to make it happen. It's just about getting together and strategizing, working together. If you're doing something, we supporting to help you. I'm doing something, we supporting to help us. So we all then win
We are
because
win.
we are all helping each other.
And in the North Nashville area of Nashville, Tennessee, there are people that are putting things in place. As a matter of fact, there's a farmland, and he raises vegetables and fruits. And I think it's 3 times a week. People that have nothing to eat can go get their vegetables and get some fruit.
Okay.
Now he does that for the community. He farms the land
Okay.
in North Nashville. Where, I don't know, but I know it's being done.
And I didn't know about that.
now I gotta find out the details. But I think y'all had it on the show. I want y'all show with you or Miss Judy because I was supposed to write down his information. I still don't know where it is.
I think it's on Hey Miss Judy.
It's on Hey Miss Judy because I believe he talked about it. Yes.
Yeah, we have our politicians that are like just knocking everything. Like our governor DeSantis has done everything. It's like he's self-employed in the state of Florida.
I
And
know.
so we have to look at this, like look at some of the things that they are abolishing and just putting into place, you know. And but guess what? We need to maneuver around all of that because God sits high and he's looking low.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter what rule they put in place. We need to start coming back home where we need those different neighborhoods to come back together.
Yes.
And do things, each individual neighborhood, organize a resident council, get activities, see what is needed, and start those programs right there. Forget about what these politicians are doing because they're not for us.
Not at all.
We can still maneuver around them to educate our people.
And we got the power to do so. That's the day, y'all know, in the COINTELPRO, they wrote the day that we organize as a day that's dangerous for them. They literally put that in the FBI files. It's in the archives.
You said it today. You gave the you said it today. It's the people power. What y'all saying? We have the power as the people.
Yeah,
so we have what we supposed to have because we know who we are. Again, Holy Spirit keeps saying we know who we are. You don't got to do our title.
Promised land. Yep.
And the jobs that we do separately, but who we are. And so that being said, it's been an amazing show. We'll have to do this.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to announce our symposium real quick. That's coming up. So Faces of HUD Housing is created. We created a symposium, and what that symposium is going to do is we have material to share with the public to show how housing authorities and all of these different politicians are really creating displacement and homelessness. They're contributing to this, even though they say they want to end homelessness. So lots of these housing authorities are terminating Section 8 vouchers. They're not providing the rights to these tenants, to certain processes and procedures. And so we have documentation to prove that. And so we at our symposium, we will be sharing that information in hopes that HUD will come and try to help us. The rules and regulations are there to help the people, but we need some enforcement from HUD so that these tenants can continue to have a place to stay. Like Clinton was saying, you know, we get evicted because they don't follow the rules that they make.
Yeah. Well, and it falls on the tenant.
Tell our guests about your how they reach you in your organization.
Okay, you can reach us. Faces of HUD Housing is on Facebook. You can search Faces of HUD Housing, or you can contact us on email, facesofhudhousing@gmail.com, or contact me by phone, and that's 754-242-5510 or 863-500-2592. Rachel Johnson. I'm a housing advocate.
Thank you. And then Mrs. Hall, tell us how we want to see you all again and your details of your business and how you're helping us here in Nashville.
Visionaries Incorporated. Miss Charlesetta Hall is one of our board members, and our website is www.visionaries.org. And I'll actually put our info in the chat of the live so that y'all can have everything for us, and including Rachel's and the group of Faces of HUD Housing.
And yes, I'm with Kenethia as one of her board members as a success story. And also, I'm with Walk of Faith. I'm the CEO of Walk of Faith. And that's where we go out and we do feed the homeless people. So that's something that I do. Plus, I host a show. I have a testimony. So that's something that I do where people's voices can be heard. So,
Amen.
yes.
And amen. We're beautiful queens and Black women who are strong, and we are making a difference. I appreciate you tonight. We will do this again. I will have to have y'all back so we can do a part 2 as we
Thank you.
grow and help ourselves and others. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ladies.
You were awesome, Robin. Bye.
Awesome. You all are.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here at the RFD Talk. Have a great night, everyone. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.